The fourth generation, our young grandkids, had barely, if any, interaction at all with their great grandparents, which is really a pity because of the rich cultural heritage that the fourth generation has to offer. So, how can we preserve these memories? Hi, this is Irene of Aging Younger, and in this video, episode 2 of Family Bonding, we will talk about the beautiful memories of Papa Tony and Mama Mars, the first generation of Uy, where it all began. For as long as I could remember growing up, we've always had a life-sized vault that only my dad had access to. It's been like those heirloom elephant pieces that came with us whenever we moved from one house to the next. When my dad passed away, we had to get a professional vault breaker to open its thick drawers. What were lovingly and carefully stored inside the vault was a surprise to everyone, including my mom. They were love letters that my mom had written to my dad as early as 1945, to the time of his death. Included in this video are snippets of the early love letters.
When I was younger, my grandfather played a really important part of my life. He taught me poetry, he taught me the love of reading, and he taught me love in general. He was actually my first father figure. I remember when I was young, he used to sit me on the stairs and teach me the great American poets, Hiawatha, and one poem in particular called The Children's Hour really made a difference in my life. It was about a group of children who would basically ransack their father's house and climb into his arms, and he just loved them unconditionally, that he would forever keep them in his heart. And that is something that I hope that I can pass on to my children, that unconditional love that a parent feels for their child. So one of the memories I have of my grandfather when I was growing up is that he would tell us about this giant that lived behind the mango tree. And I would scratch his feet and he would bribe us with 1 peso candy so we could scratch his feet and massage him. But most of all, what I remember about my grandfather is the time that he spent with me. And I realize now as a parent that that is the most important thing. Because no matter how faulty I am as a parent, no matter my failings to my son, the fact that I love him and that I'm spending time with him is what creates those poignant memories growing up and makes you feel like you're worthy of love. So the poem that made the most impact to me is called The Children's Hour by Henry Wordsworth Longfellow. Between the dark and the daylight, when the night begins to lower, there comes a pause in the day's occupations. That is known as the children's hour. I hear in the chamber above me the patter of little feet, the sound of a door that is opened, and voices soft and sweet. I see my studies in the lamplight descending the broad hall stair, grave Alice and laughing Allegra and Edith with golden hair. They climb into my turret, over the arms and back of my chair. If I try to escape, they surround me. They seem to be everywhere. They almost devour me with kisses, their arms around me entwine, till I think of the Bishop of Bingen in his mouse tower on the Rhine. Do you think, O blue-eyed banditti, because you have scaled the wall, such an old mustache as I am is not a match for you all? I have you fast in my fortress, and will not let you depart, but put you down in the dungeon in the round tower of my heart. And there will I keep you forever, yes, forever and a day, till the walls shall crumble in ruin and molder in dust away.
May 8, 1949. My darling Tony, enclosed are the pictures of the kids. Sonny is growing fast and learning so many new words each day. He wants to be always in the company of big boys, especially Waning and Noel, and apes their every ways. Shelito is finding growing up a bit difficult, if not strenuous. It's no cause to worry about. Every child passes it at that stage of his life. His decrease in weight is negligible, so don't start imagining things again. He's the sweetest little mortal in God's given earth. Why, even if he's sick, he doesn't need much fuss and fume, unlike Sonny, who demands attention to revolve around him. Now that vacation is here, I find days and days of rest with capital R. I could sleep as much as I want to, browse over the many times read novels and magazines, eat con mucho gusto, if there's anything to eat, and play mahjong with Mang Pepa, Mang Aling, and Virginia P., winning a few centavos or losing. This passes away the afternoons, and then again to bed for the night. It's an inevitable routine of sleep, eat, play, and work. What with the infernal heat? One, of course, would prefer to just roll in bed with head empty, grown moldy with disuse.
General Antonio Uy, let's call him Papa Tony, and my mother, Marcita Veridiano Uy, let's call her Mama Marcita, hailed in a little town called Faire, meaning fairies. Papa Tony was a debonair. You would see him ride his white horse to the marketplace, and all the women will be so smitten with him. Mama Marcita, on the other hand, is a very intellectual and an avid fun reader. As such, my grandparents had 3 libraries. All they did as children with her brother, Tito Pabling, they read books. That was their entertainment. While my dad was gardening. You'll ask me, what attracted Papa Tony to Mama Mars or Mama Mars to Papa Tony? As I said, Dad was such a debonair. And therefore, my mom was smitten with his very handsome stature. And my dad, on the other hand, was an actor in plays in a town called Faire, and my mom was the executive producer and director. My dad is a man of few words. When he talks, everybody listens. But when he talked to me with love. And you will see my heart melts. I am so lucky to have parents like my mom, Mama Marcita, and my dad. It's because they taught me the spirit of harmony, love, reverence, and respect for each other.
May 11, 1949. My darling Tony, it's so good of you to offer me to stop working. So considerate indeed. But I need a sort of breathless activity to keep me going. Vacation is good to any person. Respite from work is good. But just to stay home here in Faire and count the hours to glide away, waiting for time to pass, getting fat and indolent as the years go by, listening to all the petty gossips, getting drab and dull and vapid. Darling, that's not the life for me. Keeping house isn't work, especially in Faire, where there's nothing to cook and nothing to do. Work, that is. Teaching, even if it's monotonous, is good for the mind as well as the body. I'm sure I'd turn narrow with idleness, and Narrow minds need wide spaces. But it's too early to talk of that yet. What matters is the ever-present now. Do the best you can now. Tomorrow will take care of itself. And of what use is planning in a world full of uncertainties? Everything around us, the newspaper, the radio, the grapevine, gossip, clamor for peace, order, and brotherhood. But is there? The clouds look dark again. So let's finish what we aim to do now so that we'll have nothing to regret. I've said a lot of nonsense again.
During my formative years, I lived in the Philippines for about 4 years with Mama Marcita and Papa Tony. I was never the most talented cousin. I had cousins that were so smart, creative, and ambitious. I never really caught up to that. I had cousins that could recite poetry, play the piano. I never really had that skill. But the one skill I had was instilled by Mama Mars. Growing up, she was a teacher, so she took me under her wing and showed me that I may not be the smartest person in the family, in a room, but one thing I do have is diligence. And that's something that I take with me to this day. Being diligent and putting out your best effort is something that cannot be replaced. You may not have the greatest talent, but you will always be the hardest worker in the room. And I think that that's something I try to instill in my children today. The one thing about Mama Mars, and the thing that I remember about her the most, is really passion. She had a passion to do everything. She had a passion for life, and most of all, she had a passion for family. If you're watching this and you're related to me, you know that the Sunday lunches and the big events that we had were all prepared by her. It was a labor of love, as she called it. She'd work in the kitchen all day and all night just to prepare a big feast for everybody. It was her way of showing that she was loving each one of us through food. And that continues today. We're here today with our family reunion for 2020, and we bond over food. And I think that started from Mama Mars as well. Fast forward several years, and unfortunately, Papa Tony had died here in America, and that left Mama somewhat alone. One thing about Mama, she practiced what she preached. And, she continued to have that drive, grit, that passion for life. She always used the term carpe diem, to live life to its fullest, seize the day, if you will. And that's something she lived with until the day she died. That's one thing that I take with me and try to instill in my kids. The fact that no matter what life throws at you, you're always blessed because you're a part of this family. You have a great family of support, people that care about you and love you unconditionally. And I try to instill that in my kids, just how lucky they are. When they talk about riches, especially here in America, it's always about what kind of car you drive or what kind of house you have. As we all know, that's not the case. Richness comes from within. Richness and love begets family. It's all about family. And if that's the case, we are the richest family in the world. So just remember this. If you remember one thing about this particular interview, it's carpe diem, love, life, family.
July 14, 1949. My darling Tony, life here is dull without you, honey. I've turned drab and lazy and indifferent towards things again. The wait isn't long now, barely 2 months more, and we'll be together again. You'll have your crowning glory, I hope, and then we will start our lives. We'll settle down to a peaceful, comfortable existence. You'll be a lawyer then, and I'll go on with my work. There won't be much glamour in our lives, but we'll be settled and content. Or, shall we? Sonny keeps on asking for his daddy. The poor fellow has an illusion that you are up there in the moon. Last Tuesday, he kept on moon gazing. He wanted everyone to gaze at the moon too. He ran around the yard and the moon followed him. He shouted, "Moon, moon," as if the moon would come to him. I guess he's as moonstruck as you were during your salad days when you were green in judgment. One time, he saw Mr. Templo walking and he called him Daddy. Your son has the impression that your belly has grown to a geometric ratio. He might be right after all.
Mom is the complete catalyst of Dad. Dad adored her. So, what's the secret of Mom being adored by Dad? And she has a lot of shortcomings. The thing is, the reason why she's very, very lovable, amiable, as a matter of fact, that's the word for Mom, it's because although she has a lot of shortcomings, a lot, I'll tell you, she's not perfect, she's human, but her personality itself, she's very conversant, very articulate. I learned a lot from my mom too. Mom is the complete contrast of Dad. Dad is a little bit introvert, very private. He loves his family. Goes to the office at 7 a.m., back at 5 p.m. But my mom, she's, well, her favorite phrase is joie de vivre, the joy of life. My fondest memory of Mom was that, every time I bring her to of course, she loves going to the casinos. So basically, what I do is I pick her up at Puente Hill and then bring her to either Vegas or Pechanga. That's about an hour or 2 hours away. Now, she's so excited, full of life, animated. So she tells me wonderful, wonderful stories. Mom is she's well read, and although she's in her wheelchair already at the time, as soon as we hit the casinos, she'll start walking, like like Lazarus. It's like a miracle. All of a sudden she's walking, and I can barely catch up. Mom, wait for me. And then she goes to the table. But then again, that's her passion.
August 19, 1949. My darling Tony, the beautiful anniversary card you sent me was very touching. It's just like you to be so thoughtful of even the most insignificant detail. I've wondered if you'd remember the date. And darling, thanks for remembering. It means so much to me. How fast the years flew by, isn't it? The 3 years passed unnoticed. It seems only yesterday we've pledged ourselves to stick it out for better or for worse. The 3 years we've shared are the happiest years in my life. There was no turmoil, no bitterness, no heartaches. Let's hope that the years ahead of us will be as smooth and as peaceful as the first 3 we've had.
My fondest memory of my dad is one. I think was the gentlest human being that ever existed. I was so fortunate that when I was born, he already mellowed from strict disciplinarian to a person who really loved his children, especially me. Not just me, everyone. It just so happened that I was very, very fortunate to be his alleged favorite, and I really regret the fact that I think I don't really deserve to be his allegedly favorite child because I have a lot of shortcomings. If only I can turn back the hands of time and serve Dad again, I would gladly do so. It pains me that I fell below his expectations. It's really sad, and hopefully somehow, someday, if we are going to see each other again, I would embrace him and tell him, Dad, you are the most wonderful father. He was a mentor, a friend. It's a great guy, very, very good guy. I love you, Dad. I love you, wherever you are.
September 2, 1949. My darling Tony, today you have quite reached half a lifetime. You've quite realized your hopes and dreams. You've worked long years to become a lawyer, and by December, God willing, you will be one in the real sense of the word. Life has been pleasant and merciful to us. We never lacked in spiritual as well as material things. And what is more important, we never lacked in understanding each other. We have not failed each other miserably for the 3 years we've been together. You have reached financial independence to the advantage of your family. What more could you ask for? God has been extravagant in His gifts to us. He has given us 2 healthy sons whom you will someday be proud of, we hope. And we never charted the unknown and stormy seas. If things will go on the way it is now, we have a lot of reasons to be thankful. Darling, you're now 29, no longer a boy, but a mature man. Years have flown, hasn't it? It seems incredible that a few years ago, you've acted like a boy, devoid of responsibility and care. The community is waiting for you. I know you can hold your own wherever you are. It is in us to make our lives a success. It is in our making to make our lives rich and fruitful, not just an empty shell devoid of purpose. I know that as long as we have each other, we can meet whatever pitfalls life has to offer us. Without you, darling, I know I would be lost in a sea of uncertainty and misgiving. Let us always be as we have been to each other, and all will be well. Always love, Mars.
Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to check out my new website linked in the description below. All right, see you later.